Look at the night sky. What you see is a deception. Those points of light are merely the surface of a reality built on an invisible, complex architecture. To understand the universe, we must stop looking up and start looking inward. We dive past the skin of the world, past the solid objects you touch, down into the heart of the atom. Here, the rules of our daily lives dissolve. We find quarks, the fundamental building blocks of everything. Gluons bind them, a cosmic glue. Watch them shift. They flicker through colors, constantly changing, constantly binding. This is the engine of existence. It is not a static structure, but a frantic, shifting dance. This internal tension is what prevents matter from flying apart. Every solid surface, every breath, every star you see above is anchored by this subatomic struggle. We are peering into the machinery of reality, where the solid world is revealed to be nothing more than a temporary arrangement of forces, held together by the relentless, invisible work of particles that never rest. But the deeper we descend, the more our intuition fails. In this realm, energy does not flow in smooth, continuous streams. It arrives in discrete, jagged steps. Particles stop behaving like solid marbles and start acting like waves, rippling through the vacuum. You reach out to pin one down. The harder you look, the more it vanishes. This is the heart of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. You can never know the position and the momentum of a particle at the same time. The act of observation itself alters the outcome. You are not just a witness. You are a participant in the chaos. Then, the rules tighten further. Pauli's exclusion principle dictates that no two fermions can occupy the same quantum state simultaneously. It is a fundamental law of repulsion. Because they cannot share space, they are forced to stack, to layer, to build the very structure of the world you touch. Without this exclusion, matter would collapse into a single, featureless point. Instead, it creates the volume of the universe. Now, lift your gaze. The scale shifts violently. We leave the quantum uncertainty behind and emerge into the vast, cold architecture of the galaxy. Here, gravity takes command. Look at the binary stars. Two massive spheres locked in an eternal gravitational embrace. They circle one another, a rhythmic dance that reveals itself only through the subtle, rhythmic wobble of their orbits. It is a celestial clockwork, driven by the invisible pull of mass on mass. But the void is not empty. We search for the brown dwarfs, those elusive, failed stars. They are too heavy to be planets, yet too small to ignite their own cores. They drift in the dark, silent and cold, potentially holding the missing mass that dictates how galaxies spin. They are the ghosts of the cosmos, exerting influence without light. As we pull back further, the perspective widens. The universe is not a static painting, it is a system in motion. Galaxies are rushing away from one another, debris scattering from an ancient singular explosion. Every star, every nebula, every unseen cluster of matter is caught in this grand, expanding web. The same forces that bound the atom now pull at the edges of the universe. Everything is connected by the relentless, invisible reach of gravity, pulling the cosmos together even as it tears the horizon apart. Now, turn your gaze toward the absolute. We move past the spinning stars and the drifting mass of brown dwarfs to find the ultimate anchor of the void, the black hole. Here, the rules of the universe do not just bend, they shatter. Gravity reaches a threshold so extreme that space itself curves into a bottomless well, crossing the event horizon, a point of no return. Not a signal, not a particle, not a photon. The light from stars behind the hole is warped, smeared into glowing rings that trace the curvature of the abyss. It is a lens of pure gravity, focusing the cosmos into a distorted, haunting image. As you draw closer, the orderly laws of the subatomic world meet their most violent match. Time dilates, stretching seconds into eons for an outside observer, while the interior collapses toward a singularity of infinite density. The quantum dance of quarks and gluons is crushed, stripped of its structure, and consumed by the singularity. You are witnessing the ultimate failure of matter to resist the pull. The abyss does not just exist, it beckons, pulling the surrounding fabric of space into its dark, silent core. Every law of physics is being tested here, pushed to the edge of existence. The stillness of the abyss breaks. The universe is not a static stage. It is a violent, unfolding eruption. Galaxies are no longer anchored. They are rushing away from one another, scattering like debris from an ancient, colossal explosion. The expansion is relentless. Look toward the nebulae, where gas and dust ignite into the sudden, searing flare of a nova. A dim star vanishes, replaced by a blinding, brilliant light that tears through the dark. The scale of this motion is absolute. Across the void, we detect the rhythmic pulse of neutron stars. They spin with impossible speed, beaming radio signals across the cosmos. Tick, tick, tick. The frequency is precise, a strobe-like heartbeat of pure energy cutting through the vacuum. This is the kinetic reality of the cosmos. Every cluster and every system is caught in this grand, outward rush. You are watching the remnants of the dawn of time. A high-energy dance where light and matter collide, accelerate, and drift into the infinite. Beyond the pulse of the pulsars, the deep past reveals its true face. Quasars ignite the horizon of the observable universe, pouring out blinding, raw energy from the dawn of time. These are not mere stars. They are the beacons of the early cosmos, feeding on the gravitational collapse of entire galactic cores. They beam light across billions of light years, a relentless flood of radiation that defies the dark. As you track this ancient fire, the scale shifts to the life cycle of the individual. A star, once stable, begins to fail. It exhausts its hydrogen core, the pressure drops, and the outer layers swell. The star bloats, turning into a red giant, a massive, cooling sphere of burning helium and carbon. It consumes its own system, a final, desperate act of fusion that paints the void in deep, searing crimson. This is the peak of the visual journey. You are witnessing the universe in its most transformative state. The ancient, blinding power of the quasar meeting the terminal, swelling fire of the dying star. It is a cycle of birth and destruction, a constant, violent evolution that defines the architecture of space. From the first light of the quasar to the final red-hued expansion of the giant, the cosmos is a furnace of change. The fire dims, the chaos resolves. From the gluon binding a single quark to the quasar lighting the edge of the void, the pieces align. It is a singular, unfolding process. You stand as an observer, watching a system that is constantly changing, expanding, and evolving. Night's vast canvas, a breathing cosmos. You hold the map of the cosmos in your gaze. The forces that bind the atom are the same forces that drive the galaxy. You look up, and the distance between the observer and the observed vanishes. The universe is not just a place you see. It is a process you are part of. The map is complete. The silence returns.